Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is your boy CIZZY live action from Kansas City, Missouri. You know what it is. And listen, we back with another episode of the Culture Talks podcast. And as I say every single week, I'm gonna come back with a fire guest. And what have I done again? I have come back with a fire guest. Now, if you're watching this clip right now, being that the majority of my listeners are here in Kansas City, you already know who the hell I'm talking about. Look at him, appreciate his face, because you're about to see it for the next hour. Now, those of you that are listening, we have the legendary, and y'all be hating, y'all be like, why you always be saying legendary? Look, I only bring people on who I find their work to be legendary, so that's why I always say legendary. Vonnie. One of the dopest photographers in the city. We have quite a few of them, and he's definitely top 3 for me, you know. And I'm just happy to have him on today to chop it up about life, chop it up about him, his story, you know, how he got in this photography gang, you know, I said game. And, you know, that's what it is, man. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, my guy.
Yo, how you doing, y'all? My name is Vonnie Rasta. Photographer, videographer extraordinaire. It's based out of Kansas City. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I've been doing this for a little bit, about like 2 years now. Happy to be here, yo.
Bless. So now I have a question, man. Is Rasta your actual last name?
No, that was just a nickname that was kind of given to me when I was like younger. So like I started to grow my hair out right around sophomore year. So then when during that summer of it, when they started to come from twisties and they started getting like really longer, like right around to my nose and everything, that's when everybody started calling me Rasta. It was like, oh yeah, look at Rasta man, all that other shit like that. So basically I had my nickname was Von or Vonnie or whatever. And at that time, like somebody was just like, yo, it's Vonnie Rasta. So I just kind of just went with that. And it's been my nickname ever since.
Hey, well, it's smooth. Well, it's definitely smooth. I was like, am I going to introduce him as Vonnie Rasta, or should I just say Vonnie? Because I'm not sure if Rasta the actual last name, or if he actually go by that, or what the deal is. So I'm glad we know the backstory now, man. So, you mentioned that you're from Kansas City. Can you drop a little bit more about your origin story? Like, what part of the city are you from? Where'd you go to school? You know, do you have any brothers, sisters? Talk a little bit about your origin story, my guy.
Okay, so basically, I'm from the 50s. I'm from the east side of the 50s over there on 51st and College. That's right over there by Walren, the dangerous area, one of the most dangerous areas in the world. But now, so I'm from the 50s. I grew up over there. I have about 5 sisters total. I'm the only boy. I'm the youngest out of everybody. Yeah, man, like I really just grew up like just kind of like a artistic type of kid. Like I was into a lot of different stuff other than photography. Like I'm still am. Like so I draw. I was always good at like picking out certain types of music. I always had an eye for certain things. So that's where like that kind of photographer thing came from. I remember when I first started to do photography, which I really even know I was doing. That's probably back when I was sophomore, junior, or whatever, when we used to take pictures of each other, like friends and stuff when we were going out and stuff, and I would edit the photos. So then friends would be like, "Oh, dog, you're really good at this. Like, why don't you do photography?" And I was like, "I don't know. It's not really my thing or whatever." And then after I graduated and I started to do it again, that's when I think right around that time, that's when the iPhone 7 Plus that came out, and I had just bought it or whatever. And I started to go around and like shoot with it because it had to look at new portrait mode or whatever. And I would post my photos of me and stuff like that, or like wherever I was doing and edit them and stuff. And then people would come out and be like, "Yo, bro, how much you charge?" I was like, "Dog, I can't just pull up with an iPhone 7 Plus. It's have to be some crazy shit." But if you want to, it'd be $100. but
if you dare,
that's facts, bro. And then what happened with me and how I initially started to get into photography is like I was working at U.S. Bank for a while, and then while I was there, I was just so disappointed sitting there going to work every single day, working for this bullshit ass job where I already knew they was about to fire my black ass sooner than later. Where basically I had my last check and I knew I was going to get fired. Like I knew I was about to get fired because I was just bullshitting the West too, because they were just firing people like this. Like it's left and right, because it's like that those type of jobs, it has like such a high turnover rate. So I was like, all right, I'm just gonna work as much overtime as possible and just try to get as much money on this check as much as I can. So literally, what I went and did, I went and researched the camera up. I bought a Panasonic GH4. It had really good video quality. It took some decent pictures or whatever. It's a great entry level camera for me to learn. So then once I bought that, I just started asking friends. I was like, hey, you want to come out and shoot? You want to come down and shoot? You want to come out and shoot? You want to come and shoot? So then I would just find different people that I would just go out and shoot, like my boy Mark, my boy Lamandris, most of my cousins Corey and them, like, and we would just go out and shoot, and I would just practice constantly with them every day. I'd be like, hey, you want some free photos? And there ain't nobody about to turn on the free photos. Like, put on a great ass outfit, and I'll just go edit it, whatever. So after I started doing that, that's when I started to get way, way, way more better. And then eventually, of course, my job came and fired my black ass. And I got up out of there. So then I had started just doing it that way. And I just took a bet on myself, and I just went ahead and like, all right, bro, I'm just not gonna go ahead and try to get another job or whatever. I'm just gonna do what I do. But yeah, bro.
Amazing, amazing, brother. Listen, I have a question, man.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is just an iPhone holder, all they got is like an iPhone 6, right? Mm-hmm. They got an iPhone 6, and they really want to create, they just want to get creative with their photos that they take at home. Are there any apps that you like on the App Store? Are there any like photo tricks you would suggest with just using an iPhone, considering you was taking some fire photos with the iPhone 7 at one point? Do you have any like tips for anybody who's looking to get creative and just, dabble with the iPhone's camera?
Yeah, you can really just update your phone. If you update your phone, like any iPhone at any point, you can just use the portrait mode. Portrait mode is plenty enough to go ahead and just start shooting, going out and shooting with your phone, with your iPhone, and everything like that. Like iPhones nowadays, they almost have as much resolution as not like a bigger sensor on like a regular camera and stuff like that, but they do have a high resolution almost as most cameras. Because like a regular, I wouldn't say regular, like a really good hybrid camera that comes in is like my camera. Like my camera is a Nikon Z6. It shoots 24 megapixels. So like, but it has a bigger sensor. That's the only thing about like the digital cameras now. But it has 24 megapixels. Your iPhone has like 18 megapixels. So it's not really off. So you can go out, pick up your phone, and just start shooting and doing whatever you want to do. Oh shit, my photo just came in. Sorry about that. Some film photos just came in. I just noticed that on my phone. But yeah, so you can just go out and just start shooting like with your iPhone any place. And then like for editing, you can use things like VSCO, and a lot of people use VSCO. Lightroom has a mobile app now, so you can get on Lightroom mobile app and just start doing whatever. I do that sometimes when I'm at work. So I'll just sit down, I'll just take some pictures or whatever around the city, like just for myself, just like so in my spare time, I'm just sharpening my sword, I'm just editing, I'm just coming up with new edits wherever I can. Like sometimes I have this segment on my story where I just pick random people's photos and like just go ahead and just start edit them and just edit them, just send them to them. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so you can do just about anything on your iPhone if you just want to pick up and start from there. But if you want to do like entry level stuff or whatever, if you want to start doing in like regular photography, like I have a lot of people that DM me and ask me about like, hey, what's a great entry level camera? And like I usually tell them like you can get a really inexpensive camera. You can get like a Sony A6400 for about like $700-800, right around there. That's a really great camera. You can get a no plug because they're not paying us. But yeah, you just find like a really good entry level camera like that, and you can just go out and start shooting right now.
I love it. It's funny because people always are trying to find some excuse to not get active when it comes to pretty much anything, but especially in this creative world. Like what I've seen is like people are like, I really want to get into photography, but I don't have the money to buy a camera. I want to get into doing podcasts, but I don't have the right mic. I want to get into vlogging, but I don't have, again, a good vlogging camera. And it's just like, bro, work with what you got at first, like, and make it dope. If you're really creative and if you really care about the quality of the work you put out, you're gonna find a way to make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I knew I wanted to ask you that question just for all those wannabe photographers who keep claiming they trying to be that, but then they're like, no, I don't have a camera. Bro, take your iPhone 7, because I know you spent $1,000 on that 2 years ago, and go take some photos. Also, instead of updating your next iPhone, just go buy a camera.
Go buy a camera. Like literally, it's really like, I think people get shocked by the price when they see it at first. So it was like, oh my God, $1,500, $1,700. I was like, bro, if you really just break it down, if you have like if you break down it from your check, you just either you divide it by 2 or you divide it by 3. That's what I usually do with my when I want to make a bigger purchase. Like I'm trying to buy a camera right now for $3,500, but literally what I just do, like any money I make from photography or videography, it just goes straight to my savings. And then anything from my check or whatever, then I'll just take like bits and pieces and I'll just save it up. I don't have to have it now. Like I can have it 3-4 months down the line. It doesn't matter to me. I think that sometimes people just get scared off by the price.
For sure. So I want to swing back a little bit. Can we talk a little bit about, outside of photography or just creative things? Did you have any other hobbies or things that you were interested in growing up, like sport or trying to be a television guy or or a meteorologist or a firefighter? Like, what were some of your early hobbies growing up?
So I played football for the longest. I've been playing football since I was like 10 or 8 years old. So I played football up into college. So I got to college in Lincoln University my freshman year, and I started to play there. Eventually, that's what I just gave up for to go out and do creative things. I was in school for journalism. I wanted to be a journalist at first, but then after a while, that got boring as well. I think with creative minds is like, if it just gets boring way too fast to us, they'd be like, man, fuck it, I ain't doing that shit anymore. Like, I think sometimes I just how creative brains work. But like, same thing when I was drawing. Like, I'm very, very, very good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like literally, I think like when I first started to take drawing seriously in 7th grade, I went to a school. It was like a real kind of ritzy, kind of fancy school, whatever you can think of it. But basically, they had like an art program too. So when I was there, like they asked us to paint and all that stuff like that, paint what you were inspired by. When I was younger, my dad used to he actually used to find these encyclopedias of Black history and stuff. So I would just read those when I was a kid because I was just so interested in history and just keep learning. So I would take those and I would just look at different people and read about them every time. I would try to find as much as I can find out about that person. So I just painted like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Nelson Mandela, Harriet Tubman. I was just painting stuff like that. And I think some of my paintings are probably still in the H&R building because that's where the competition was. But like it should still be hanging up in there. And also I think I got looked at by the Nelson for like a scholarship or whatever, when I was younger. But yeah, that's probably my biggest hobby at that time.
I love it. That's dope. I love when you find out things that you don't know about people. It's like somebody could be like looking at all your Instagram content the past like year or 2 or 3 years and be like, oh yeah, fire photographer, funny guy, but they don't know that you fire a drawing, or that you play football leading up to college, or that you went to college. And I want to talk about that. Let's talk about Lincoln College. Like, what was that experience like? I'm pretty sure, tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's like a historically Black college. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that experience, some positives, some negatives, and what you think you learned from your experience in college.
I think what I learned from my experience in college, because when I was first choosing the college, I was mostly thinking about sports at that time. And then also the education too, but it was really mostly sports. So I was sitting there, I was like, either I can just go to Northwest Missouri State and just walk on or whatever. And then, which is a really great school, but it's a predominantly white school. I can go to Northwest Missouri State, about an hour and a half away from here. Or I can go to Mo State, which again, another really great school, PWI, but it's an hour away or whatever. Or I can go to HBCU. So even though I was thinking about sports, I was also thinking about my comfortability. So I was like, how comfortable am I going to be at this PWI? Nothing against them or whatever, but like we hear too many stories about what happens at like PWIs and stuff like that. And then also, I ain't got time to be beating up nobody's kid. You dig what I'm saying? So
you trying to get an education and skedaddle.
Get education, and I'm not finna keep beating up Tanner because he want to say some racist shit. Like you dig what I'm saying?
I definitely understand.
Listen, no hate to anybody that goes to PWI. I know like a lot of black people get sensitive about it when they be like, "What the PWI is right next to me?" It's like I don't care. But when I went to HBCU and I went to Lincoln for a visit, I just felt very comfortable and I felt like in my zone and I felt like it was so many black folks walking around learning and doing all this super crazy positive shit. And I was like, how can I not go here? You dig what I'm saying? And then there was another HBCU was on my list. It was Grambling, and I was like, yo, I'd be even dope, but I just had to move outside of the city and stuff. So I decided to be like, all right, I'm just gonna stay home because Jefferson City is like not that far from me. It's like 2-3 hours away, maybe. And I'm just gonna go ahead and just do this shit. So that was a great positive of walking around and just seeing your people like on their shit and doing their shit and like seeing the new future of it, the parties, the friends you make, all that stuff like that, and the experience that you have. That was good. I think the only negative of it was kind of like the living conditions sometimes, because like certain HBCUs, they don't have a lot of money. It's not like how like a Langston or a Grambling or a Howard and stuff like that, where it's kind of different, where it's more updated and things like that. But certain HBCUs, like smaller ones, they don't have the certain type of funding to get certain things done. Because like when the hall I stayed in, it looked like 20s. Like I was like, I'm back home. I was sitting there like, dog, all is crazy.
He said, I thought I was leaving.
Yeah, I thought I was on the east. I was like, God, what's going on? But yeah, so like I think that's the only thing about it is just like kind of like the funding to business, but that's not their fault. You dig what I'm saying? Like because like students or whatever or whoever who have made it and get being successful, like they should donate to the school or whatever, because that's what they do with those PWIs. So like the people who are successful when they go away, they donate to their alma mater. So I think that's more things that should happen. But yeah, I think that was probably the only con about it. But other than that, it didn't really bother me because I'm already coming from a product of my environment. So I'm already coming from like a whole hood mentality, and a whole like what happens when I get out the hood, shit like that. So I was fine with it.
Yeah. So, final question in regards to college. What like during the years you were in college, what was the music that was popping? What was like the style of clothing that was popping at that time? What was going on in pop culture during your years at college? Like this is like a new question I'm gonna start asking. So like what was going on in pop culture? What was like the hit song that was popping? What was going on at the parties? Like what were people wearing? What was the shoe that was out? Like what was popping?
At that time, bro, literally what was cracking was this is when I think 2014 around that time is when was it 2014 or 15? I think it was 15. So yeah, 15 because I stayed a year before I went off. 2015 literally was like the last year of mixtapes. I want to say it was literally like around the last year of mixtapes. So around that time. Like when did J. Cole's 2014 Forest Hills Drive come out? Was it like late 2014? Because I remember it was like a year we kind of transed over.
Yeah, I feel like it was because I remember I graduated and left to California. I remember listening to that like during my like time away in California. So I think it was like late 2014 or mid 2014. No, late 2014 going into the new year for 2015. Somewhere around there, pretty sure.
I remember around that time because I was slapping the hell out of that. It was that, and then it was if you're reading this, it's too late. Was going crazy. Like I said, it was last year the mixtapes. So that's when I found out about Kevin Gates, and that's when that song, "Oh my diamond shining," that song was out, and then his mixtape was out. So like that's when I was just like listening to his shit, and then it was a whole bunch of shit that was out, bro. Like, it was going crazy. But I say the style around that time, damn, what was the style? Because literally the only impacting styles that I remember the most is like when we was younger. So like I want to say around 2011, that's when a whole bunch of people was wearing like polo and Tommy Hilfiger and that type of style. But that kind of phased out. And then especially like Obey and Diamond Supply and all that stuff like that. And then like that phased out. I think the next style that was coming up after that, I think mostly people were just wearing like regular like Nike, Adidas, and stuff like that, with some cool sneakers and shit like that. I don't really know. That's a great question.
I think you're right though. That like it was like that when we were younger was definitely like the most like iconic moments. So like when we were like hella young, like going like, you know, elementary-ish, like to like probably like 5th grade, 6th grade was like just the era of like big ass clothes. Like you could say Soulja Boy had it. Soulja Boy, I think, brought it back, but I think it was already happening before Soulja, like because of AI, because of Allen Iverson and his whole impact on culture and everything like that. So I remember like big ass clothing, like big ass G-Unit sweatsuits and Rockaware sweatsuits and stuff like that. FUBU sweatsuits. And all that. And then I remember like middle school was like jerk era, like when people started rocking skinny jeans and graphic tees with the snapback.
That shit was crazy. Like I still remember when my cousin was like, bro, like I'm about to start wearing skinny jeans. I was like, you about to start wearing skinny? You about to start doing what? So I'm thinking like, all right, it's gonna be cool or whatever. And I'm not gonna out my cousin because he probably don't want to hear this shit. But he was like, yo, I'm about to start wearing skinny jeans. So I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm thinking he's just gonna wear some black ones or like probably like some gray ones, like some decent like regular colors. He came out there with the turquoise teal skinny jeans on. I was so fucking mad. I was like, boy, you bright as fuck out here. You draw nothing but attention to yourself.
I am weak.
It's like hood shit. So it's like we could have been into it with somebody. I'm trying to stay in the mix. I'm trying to like stay out of people's view or whatever, just in case some shit happen. I know where everybody's at and everything. Right. You shining a beacon on us.
My man, the only man in the party, just blew.
You. Like
exactly, literally, just like the light. No, that's mad funny. I remember like I rocked like some white skinny jeans like the first time like to school, and my mom didn't see what I was wearing like when I went into school, and I came home with the skinny jeans on, and she was like, "What are you wearing?" I'm like, I'm like jeans. She's like, "Why is this so tight? Is woman jeans?" I was like, "Nah, ma, these regular." It was like it's in style. She'd be like, all right, so sorry for anybody who's hearing this. No disrespect. I got love for everybody in the LGBTQ community. But my mom was like, are you a gay? I was like, Ma, I'm just wearing skinny jeans. No. I heard this is what I am hearing. I'm like, yo, African moms just be saying whatever come out their mouth. I'm like, yo, mom, that don't got nothing to do with these skinny jeans. But I remember she hated them. She hated them so much.
We talk about black parents and like black parents not being able to understand like what kids are wearing. But if you go back and look at some of the shit that they was wearing, it's like, bro, you can't even judge me, bro. Like I seen a picture of like my dad in like the 70s. I was like, no, you can't talk about nothing I'm wearing
at all.
Big ass clothes, this, that, and the third. I was like, man, you had on this silk ass shirt with these bell bottom ass pants. And you got the nerve to say something to me.
To me? Man, nah, that stuff be having me weak. That's how I do with my older siblings, because I got like a big family. My older siblings are like in their late 30s and 40s and stuff, because we got like big ass family. I'm like the last born, right? Yeah. And so I got their pictures from high school, and they wearing like them them early 90s with the big ass heels, like the 3 platform heels with the bootleg jeans with the jeans flare out at the bottom with like a freaking poofy neck top with their hair. I'm like, yo, hey, I don't want to hear nothing.
Nothing at all, bro.
I don't want to hear nothing at
we
all.
Didn't even get to the 80s and whichever. Like, bro, come on, bro. We can
sad.
But old lady had on? No.
Nah, I respect all the eras though. They all got some weird, funny shit though. It's dope to look back on.
It's gonna be us soon. So like, if you think about it, it's gonna be us later on in life when we're teaching our kids and like, hey, this is what we used to wear. This is what we used to do, or whatever. I'm gonna still accept it for whatever my kids wear. If like it's them expressing themselves, that's where our culture comes from anyway.
Yeah.
If our styles change up, the music changes up. Like this is how our shit is.
Facts. And it's like everything's influenced by different things in different cultures. Like when I was living in LA, their like whole style is literally, well, at least from my experience, is like just straight gang influenced. Like
flannels.
Like completely. I was just looking at their fits. I was like, why does everybody I'm looking at look like these niggas out of fucking Boys in the Hood? I was like,
Like, I'm not even gonna talk about the niggas because like I'm going there like next week, so I ain't got
No, it's dope though. It's dope. That exactly.
I'm not the West Coast. I fuck with
Hey, nah, I love facts, nah. But speaking of looking back on things and things that have passed, man, give me some reflections of 2020, man. Some of the most challenging moments, and maybe a little bit of the most happy moments from the year.
Mm-hmm. From 2020, I think the most challenging thing was kind of like me still dealing with relationships and still keeping relationships together. Not only fact of work, outside of work, that type of thing, and kind of like dealing with keeping them like associated. Because I think in 2020, I kind of got tired of doing like playing the whole game, of playing the whole industry like game, or like I'm trying to be cool with somebody and I just don't agree with nothing this motherfucker do. Or they say I stopped taking jobs just simply for the bread of it, because it was just kind of like, dog, I've always just felt like sometimes when I take those jobs, I just feel so bad because I was like, dog, I feel like I'm just not gonna give my all to these people. You dig what I'm saying? So I stopped taking jobs, especially like certain video jobs where it just be like the video idea sounds bad. And I'm just like, dog, okay. Because like usually how I work is I try to work with the artist or the client or whatever, and we come up with a great idea together. It's another reason why I stopped doing music videos. But we try to come up with a great idea together and to try to make something different and put out this dope creative piece and things like that. So that was one of my biggest challenges of letting that go and just being like, because now I'm happier with myself because people know to respect my craft when they come over here. It's not just gonna be like, oh, here's some money, do whatever I say type thing. You know what I mean? And I think what more videographers and photographers need to start doing. Like, really, people just need to come together and make a collaborative effort. And that's what a collab is for. That's what collaboration is for. But some of the positives that came out of it is just you started to get more work done, and you started to like be able to work a little bit more and get out a little bit more. I will say only something that's very limiting, like when doing photography and videography, when it's like now when it gets cold outside, because you can't go outside and use like regular like shit like how you used to. I think that's another challenge as well, because like you can't go nowhere without a fucking mask now. Right. So like you can't go into certain buildings without a mask, or it's got too many people in here, this, that, and the third. Mm-hmm. And that was the only thing about it. So like when you're a videographer, photographer, everything is free around you. You can do whatever you want. You dig what I'm saying? Yeah, I think the only positive about it was just like more people willing to work and more people willing to get out, because people were so cramped up in the house and shit. It was just like, oh, bro, I gotta get out. I gotta go do something. I gotta do this. And then like more people would just get out and start going out and work. So it made it easier now.
I like that. Yeah. I was trying to figure out like how all these people in so many different industries are pivoting during 2020 because of the pandemic and because of like the obstacles that were put in front of people. And it's funny because everyone like really has completely different experiences, but regardless faced an obstacle, and it's just a good reminder that we all went through that together. You know what I'm saying? And it's also just a good reminder that, you know, every day, regardless if it was a pandemic or not, people are going through challenges, trying to figure out how to pivot, trying to figure out how to like make things work in whatever they're doing for their career path, or maybe it's a relationship, or maybe it's their health. Like people are all on a path to like progression, and we got to like respect that. Like, you know, going forward is kind of how I'm feeling about 2020. It's like, look, if anything, they should show you we all collectively as an entire human race are unified, whether you like it or not. Like something ties us together, something, like, you know. And it's like, if you didn't realize that after this year, then shit, you know, I don't know when you're gonna realize it.
Right. We're all in this big Milky Way universe and shit. So
straight up. So I didn't really know that you did videography until like maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, when you posted a photo of like your prices and stuff, and I saw videography as an option on there, and I was like, oh snap. So maybe just reflect on some of your past like shoots, like video shoots you've done. What was one project that stands out to you as something that you really enjoyed doing?
One thing I really enjoyed doing, I think I really enjoyed like traveling to different cities and just doing videos for the city or whatever. It's kind of like I was planning on doing a video for my own city because actually no, I did do one, but it wasn't up to the par that I wanted it to be. But it got a lot of love. Probably my most shared video I ever had. But literally, I think like traveling to different cities and doing different videos for those cities and going to like their historical spots and stuff like that, and then traveling up like I did. We went to Chicago for my birthday last year, and then we just kind of walked around, and I just was going to different spots. Because like when I get in different cities, and this is gonna be the same way I'm gonna get when I get into LA next week, is that I just like going around and shooting constantly, just finding different things. It's just like my mind just opens up like as soon as I get to a different city because it just feels like better. That and then also like concerts. Like I miss doing concerts. Like I used to like before people usually know me as I used to be like a predominantly concert photo shooter. So I would go to nothing but hip hop concerts and just do photos and videos and stuff like that for them. Like I did Sada Baby, G Herbo, J Rock, Boz, Jesse Reyes, like a bunch of different people. You know what I'm saying? And then like that was something that was such an impact on my life, and it's still something I'm going to end up doing again once everything gets back to its normal thing. But doing the videos off of those, I remember I did a video with when I was at Rico Nasty's concert or whatever, and it was just so fucking dope. And then like literally after I had recorded that video, it was so many people DMing me, like especially videographers, like, bro, what settings do you use? It's great. You know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, so I think that's one thing that like I really liked about it.
I like it. Didn't you shoot Ashawn when he did that when he opened up for yeah, those were fire. Those were some fire clips, man. I like that. I think that's when I first found you on Instagram. Like cause before we ran into each other that one day at the skate park, I had seen you around IG before. I just had yet to follow, but I had seen your work before. And I think that's the first time I saw your work was from that concert. I was like, oh, this shit is fire. Who shot this? And then you know when people be on their IG stock and click, oh fire. Oh yeah. I love it. So how did you learn how to like use cameras, how to shoot correctly, or these certain settings? Did you have a mentor? Are you using YouTube? Did you take some side classes at Lincoln? How'd you learn how to, manipulate and finesse the camera to create some dope ass content?
I went to YouTube University.
Hey.
You dig what I'm saying? I learned it from my many teachers. There. Many professors. But yeah, so I went to YouTube and I just dived into it like immediately. Like I just started looking at different people, like regulars at first. I was just looking at the regular photographer, videographer ones like the Peter McKinnons and the Matty Hapalojas. And then I started to go from that, and I started to find the smaller YouTubers, but they were still doing so much dope shit. You dig what I'm saying? Like the Valandis of the world. He's like a nigga from Detroit, which really inspired me. How he really inspired me, especially started doing film, is that I remember before I started doing YouTube and shit, and I was just like, maybe I should start doing YouTube. I don't know, because everybody was telling me to do YouTube. It's like, bro, you should go do YouTube. You should go do YouTube. It's like it's perfect for you to do it. Like, you have personality, all that shit like that. So I was like, I don't know, because like, bro, I'm a hood nigga from 50s. I'm gonna be saying I'm on there saying fuck shit, nigga, blah blah blah, this that, the third, because that's just my language. Is how I talk. It's hard for me to clean up shit. You dig what I'm saying? So like when I was noticing that with Valandis was on there just saying like, yeah, nigga, this that and third, yada 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 yada. He wasn't a big tech reviewer dude like how like I see other people is. He was like, all right, listen, dog, I'm gonna tell you if this shit is good or if it's not. Like I'm not about to do this with y'all. And I'm like, and people was respecting it and loving it and going to it. And I'm like, yo, this is a market for this shit. Like you don't have to know all the smallest specs for this shit to be able to get out there and talk about it and shit. So like, I think that's one thing that really inspired me to go on and do my journey and stuff. But yeah, so YouTube University, and then on the field experience, like going out and just having to switch and like look at different settings and do different settings. Like I have my camera right here, so like whenever you see a photographer or videographer do this thing where it's kind of like they're looking down, checking their settings and trying to do all these other things like that, it's a word for that. It's called chimming. So like when you're chimming, you keep looking down, check your settings and change it and do all these other things like that. So like chimming a lot and doing that a lot, it helps you get right back into the settings. Like, all right, I know where this goes. I know how this do. I know how this affects this. And you just automatically start doing it. You start checking and be able to reverse and do stuff like that. Like I do that a lot at concerts. So like when I'm at concerts, I'm constantly looking down, checking my settings because you gotta make sure because lighting in concerts change rapidly. So you gotta be fast at that shit. Yeah, like that's how I learned. It's just experience and then YouTube University.
I love that. I love that. So I want to transition into how'd you get into shooting film? When did you start shooting film? I don't know too much about that, but I do know that you're one of the only photographers in the city that I know that's doing that, and it's fire. So can you kind of just explain the process of shooting film? Because I know that's a longer process. You mentioned at the beginning of the podcast, you know, something about California, and it takes a while to get stuff in. So can you just talk about that whole cycle of from the time you take the photos or how you take the photos, what you need, and then going into when you get them returned back to you in full form?
Yeah, film photography is so dope because film photography, especially like depending on which one you're shooting, like if you shoot like a media format camera, which is like you'll see these big ass cameras like this, and then you have like point and shoots, like the little ones I just use for like my regular photos that I take of myself on Instagram. Yeah, so you have like your regular 35 millimeter. That's mostly just released to the public like during those times. Like so, like most point and shoots came out in like the 80s and 90s and shit like that. Autofocus wasn't that great because that shit was always missing, but I'm not gonna get technical. But you'll see those little bitty film rolls, 35 millimeters. Then you have the bigger ones, which are the medium formats. So the medium format's about this tall. You only get about 10, 15 shots on them, depending on what kind of camera you got. And they go by different sizes. So like 120 film, you get like 6x7s, and that's a 6x7 picture. Or if you have like a 6x4, it's just a 6x4 kind of picture, and then they also have square, which is a 6x6. So on different cameras, like the medium formats, you get a higher resolution. So you still see people today use medium format cameras in photo shoots. Like they still do them for magazines. They still do them for certain artists' album covers. Even like computer login screens. Like they do a lot. Like this camera specifically. Like this is a Mamiya RB67. If you go look up this camera, do you remember like back in school, like you remember that little green landscape where it's like a grass and a blue sky and shit?
Yeah, I do.
That was taken on this camera.
Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, so like that's where that came from. But yeah, bro, like I think what helped me get into it so much is just like the look of it, like and how like film looks, because like you can blow this 120 frames photo up and it'll be like such a higher resolution than regular like digital camera, because the digital camera like they can only shoot to a certain amount of megapixels. So the highest I've seen was 100 megapixels on a digital camera, which is like a $10,000 camera. But if you go for like a film camera and you shoot 120, you're shooting a higher resolution than that. So why wouldn't you just go get that? And you could just blow it up as big as you want to at any point in time, and it'll still look the same. So that was another reason I got into film. With the whole like sending the shit off to California, it's like I get my film developed at the darkroom. The darkroom is in California. I think it's Palmano Beach or something like that in California, whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you send it off to them. So it usually takes them like, well, now it's different because it takes like 5 days now or more or longer to get there. And then because of the pandemic and what's going on and shit. But usually you send it there. It takes about 3 days to get there. Then 3 days to go into production, and then you'll get them back probably like that Saturday or whatever, especially if you send it off on Monday or whatever. Yeah, so usually you'll get it back. They'll send you scans of images, kind of like how this is right now on like my phone. So you'll see right there, it'll have all the things right there. So it'll say your photos have been received, they're being uploaded, and you just go to your app and you just pick it up from your app. So then you can just go ahead and do that, and then they'll send you the film back and your negatives back. So you can keep the negatives and you can scan them whenever you want. Again, like say if you lose the photos, but you still have them. and they'll still come out in the highest of quality and stuff as long as you just put them up. Yeah, so like to induct that into photography now, because another reason why I started to do it is because I wanted to be more included into the photo instead of just taking the photo. If you did, I wanted people to actually really try to model for the photos, because when you're shooting on a digital camera, you're getting thousands of pictures. You get 1,000. I can shoot 1,000 pictures on a digital photo easy. But the only thing about it is that you keep constantly showing people the photo, like, yo, here you go, look at this, whatever. To like to make themselves feel more comfortable. I want to make myself feel more uncomfortable. I wanted to get out there and be like, all right, I have 15 shots on this roll. If I mess up one, I just mess up one. It's just how it goes. Same thing is like, well, people don't have to keep constantly coming back and asking me like, hey, can I see the photo? It's like, no, that's not what we're doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have to get out there. You have to work. Like, you can't constantly just be worried about it. I think that takes you out of the moment. Like, if you're constantly worried about like how you look and stuff like that, you have to trust one another. That's basically what it is. It's just like you're constantly trusting one another when you're out there in the field doing film. So yeah, that was another thing that was just like I wanted to be like introduced to just being more uncomfortable and then learning all ways of photography.
I love that. That's dope, man. That's dope. That's a great way to go about tapping into your creativity like even deeper. It's like, yo, I know how to shoot for photography like on a digital. It's fun. It's dope. I get to make people happy. I get to create something. But like, let me tap in deeper. Let me go more in depth. Let me really get in tune with the art of it. And I love that. That's fire. So who are, if you have any, if you don't, we skip the question, but do you have any favorite people to shoot with, or whether it's a specific person or certain types of energies or characters that you like to shoot with more?
Mm-hmm. I love to shoot with people where I don't even have to say what to do. Like that's one thing I really like. I like when I'm ever shooting with somebody and I just never have to tell them what to do. I think some people have this like the stigma of photographers, like we have 90,000 poses in our heads. Like, yo, like you got to do this and this and the third, and that's not reality. That's not reality. Like, I'm a human being at the end of the day. Like,
right.
Like, I have probably like 15 photos in your head for your mind. Like, it's just like, and then like, the thing is like when you're doing that is like when you tell the people like poses, like not everybody's gonna want to do the pose that you told them to do.
Right.
So like people constantly be like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And that's fine. It's not a big deal. But after a while, after I get to pose 15 and you still don't want to do none of these poses, we have a problem. Like
it's on you now, but
it's on you now. Like I've given you 20 of these joints and you still don't want to do them. Like, you know what I mean? I think that's probably the most frustrating part. But when I just don't have to tell people to do anything, like they just naturally get into their mode. Like people that's really good at that. This girl named Jenna Lou. Jenna, I worked with her a lot. She was one of the first people I actually shot with my film camera. Jenna, Jermaine Arcane. I never had to tell him, that's bro. You know what I mean? I never had to tell him what to do. He just goes off and starts doing his thing. Ray Smith, same thing. Leslie, her name is Roxanne on Instagram. You probably seen her on some of my pages. Never have to tell her what to do. It's a bunch of different people. You dig what I'm saying? Like where, like they just make it so easy for you. Another one, Gigi Javon. Her name is Gigi Goddess on Instagram. Never have to tell her. Yeah, bro. And there's just also people who just bring a different style to it. Like even from like friends and family members, like my brother Unique. Same thing. It's just he just brings a different style to it.
Bro, it's fire. I don't know what it is. Like I don't know what it is, but like his presence is just fire. Like on camera and behind. Like I don't know why. I don't even think I follow him. But anytime I see his like pictures of him, like somewhere, I'm like fire. Like I don't know why I always appreciate it, but I'm like fuego.
I was the one who took him. Because
it was me.
I'll fuck around. Like no, for real. He's like a really, really dope person. You dig what I'm saying? Like I've been friends with Unique since like damn near middle school. So like we've been like this for a long time. So like we work really well together. So and same thing like with my other cousin Buzz, like he raps as well. And like he's saying the same thing. He has that energy where he just like is like a dope person. You dig what I'm saying? Like that's the only type of people I keep around. You dig what I'm saying? But yeah, shooting, bro, is like hella cool. It is sometimes I do find a challenge. Oh, Lillian is another person that's like really, really dope. I never had to tell her what to do. But shooting with those type of people makes your job so much easier, and it makes everything creatively better because they are open to doing different things. Like they're not scared to be like, no, fuck it, I'm not gonna do that, blah blah. They're like, no, let's try it, let's see how it looks. Because like working with me and like a lot of people who worked with me before, like working with me, I could just come off the rings with some other shit out of nowhere, and I'd be like, yo, let's try this, let's try to do this or whatever. And most people would be like, all right, cool, let's do it. You dig what I'm saying? Like, so like I shoot a lot of street art, I shoot a lot of street photography, and like with street photography, it's so different. Like you don't know what you're gonna get because you can just find like a dope ass location and make it fire. Like a lot of studio photography is cool or whatever, but sometimes it's just the same thing over and over and over again, and I get tired of doing that. So yeah, like I think that's the one thing that makes it a little bit easier is it's like people who are so ready to dive in it creatively, is so ready to do whatever that you can just make any type of fire photo you want. Like I just posted a poll on my Instagram, and I was like, yo, we don't have to be outside for like 20 minutes. I only need you for 20 minutes to shoot this photo or whatever. But it's some photos I took up at the Chinese restaurant up the street from the crib and shit like that. And then just gonna see if it like see how it looks, bro. You dig what I'm saying?
That's fire. That's fire. So I want you to tell me if you're the type of person that shares their plans, but what is the future of 2021 looking like for you in terms of things that you want to complete or things that you want to get involved in? It doesn't even have to be about your creative art. It can be anything. But what are some things you want to do in 2021? What are some things you want to achieve in 2021?
Really, honestly, would just be to grow this YouTube channel a lot to the point to where like, all right, I can quit my job and I can just focus on my clients and doing photography and videography and stuff like that, and I can just live off of that. Like I think that's one thing that's like I'm trying to complete that goal for this year. Also, I want to say, since I lost a lot of weight, like I lost over 60 pounds this year. Thank you.
Let's go, my boy.
Thank you, audience, please. But yeah, I lost over 60 pounds, and I felt comfortable in myself when I did that because I used to weigh like 330. So like I used to be like a really big guy. I was still just moving around, but decided to do that because I felt uncomfortable at that time with myself, and I felt uncomfortable. Like I was still a confident guy, but I think it was just the look. I was like, all right, I'm uncomfortable with this. I'm gonna go ahead and change my look up because I was always like a guy whose weight fluctuated. Like I would get big and then I would get small, and I would get big and I would get small. But then this time I just stayed at that weight, and I was just like, all right, no, I'm not gonna do this. So that I think it's time to start putting on some muscle because I got to a certain weight where I was like, all right, I'm comfortable at being at this like 265, 270 range. I just want to build some muscle on now. Like forget everything else. I don't want to get too small. I don't want to get too big or whatever. I just want to stay at this weight size and just build muscle for me. That and then getting back to my hobbies and also trying new hobbies. Like I'm going back to drawing. I just bought my first sketchbook. I haven't bought one since freshman year.
Wow.
I want to start to do different types of art from that. Like I want to start doing watercoloring and painting and stuff like that again. And then also I want to I always wanted to learn how to play an instrument. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to play sax when I was in elementary school, but I don't remember all of it. So I was like, I might pick up the saxophone again, or I might, I always wanted to learn guitar or like piano or something like that.
I love it. Those are all super dope things, man. Super dope. So I got two final questions for you. I got a bonus question. I call it the bonus question, but the funny thing is
round.
bonus round. Answer in 2 seconds or less. Hey, I might add that in. You just gave me that idea. I might add a little Pac-Man background sound. But no, so if there was any place in the world that you could shoot tomorrow, right? I'm like, boom, Vonnie, I'm about to buy you. I'm about to put $3,000 towards a ticket and some stay, like wherever you want in the world right now. And the only agreement is that you have to shoot some content while you're there. What place would you want to go to? Anywhere in the world, like any city, any town, expenses paid for tomorrow. So don't think about the future. Think about right now. Tomorrow you'd be going. Where would you go?
Well, certain places I want to shoot, but I don't want to be disrespectful to their culture and like how they treat it. Yeah. So I'm thinking of like Mayan ruins. I'm thinking of Egypt. I'm thinking of Japan. It'd be really dope to really go and shoot. Like I see a lot of pictures coming from like I want to say London and Germany that are so fucking fire. Like, cause like if you see London and Germany and like how like a lot of these people like these Europe cities are like made and things, like their streets are so fucking wide. It's like this big ass street with these like and all these buildings, especially in like Italy and Rome and Germany and stuff like that. They still have all the old like statues and shit that are still up from that was built like a long ass time ago and shit. Still certain architecture and certain castles that are still there. And I just want to see that shit. That's another thing about Egypt too. I just want to see that shit because I just want to learn and dive deep into it. But if I had to pick one, how about this? We'll go ahead and we'll go with London.
Okay. Fire. I love it. Yo, while you was explaining that, I was like, hey, bruh, I know we ain't best friends or nothing, but you, me, and Jermaine should go to fucking Japan, dog, and go crazy with some content. Just spend like 2 weeks there. First off, that boy Jermaine, like you were saying, like he just be figuring out movements to do behind the camera. I feel like the shit would be fuego. Second off, I don't know what it is about you specifically, but I feel like Japanese people would love you.
Hey, look, bro, like it's like literally, I seen like a video. It's like, let's say all three of us went there, we would get stared at, cause they don't get a lot of black people over there, so they just be sitting there like, what the fuck? Like they'll be so interested.
Yo, what would be mad funny is like somebody staring at you, but you get like a film photo of them staring at you, and it's like the caption's like Japanese man staring at me.
Japanese man staring at black man. Like, he's just like this. He's just like, I wanted it.
Yo, mad funny. Respect to Japan.
Oh, facts. Love Japan. I love anime. I love all that shit. You dig what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
That would be such a fun trip, bro, to be honest with you, because I would just, bro, they got fucking big ass robots in the middle of the Times Square. I'm trying to see that shit. Like,
hell yeah. No, that'd be sick, man. Hey, I know why I like Unique. I know why. He reminds me of just an anime character. Now, here's the thing. I ain't really ever watched anime. So he's what I imagine a human version of an anime character would look like.
Yeah.
No, hey, Unique, if you watch this, no disrespect. I'm just saying, I think that's why I find you interesting.
Yeah, I think he would definitely watch that. I think he'll screenshot the report. I already know he is. Bro, like we watch so much anime, like, and like we talk about anime so much because like literally if I see a manga that's coming out or whatever or anything like that, because I don't really read that much. Like I think I'm more of an audio and video person. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I watch a lot of video. I'm just a visual kind of audio type person. He loves reading. So like I'll send him a manga to read until he can tell me what it's like. Like I'll be like, hey, just tell me what it's like. And if it's dope, then I'll go check it out. But if it's trash, he'll think like, nah, bro, that shit was trash. I'll be like, all right, cool. And then we just trust each other's like anime opinions. We send so much shit back and forth.
I love that. All right, here's the bonus question for you. This is our last and final question, listeners. And listeners, if you listen consistently, you know the question. So, Vonnie, it's your last day on Earth. It's your last day on Earth. Every picture, every piece of YouTube content you've posted, everything you've ever posted has to leave Earth with you. Your great-grandchildren sitting right in front of you, and you got to give them a piece of advice on how to live life. What are you going to tell them?
Live life to the fullest and don't try to be something that you're not. Like do not try to be something that you're not. That's one thing about like life that I've learned is that trying to be something that you are and trying to be like something that you know in your heart and your DNA it's just not you, dog. You dig what I'm saying? Like I think that's one thing that I would tell them, because I learned that like myself, even like certain things like relationships, like people who like like the difference between like the regular like player type of dude, like the dudes like go out, you get all the bitches, all this, that, third, like that, and he just plays them, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like the regular dude who just like kind of just goes with the flow, like it just is what it is. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm gonna be honest with you, that type of thing. And that was always the type of dude I was. I tried to be the player nigga, but it just wasn't me to be like that. So like that's one thing I've always regretted about myself when I try to do that, is like I try to be something that I wasn't. So that's one of the things that I would say would affect them more. It's like, just be who you are. Fuck what everybody else say. Fuck what everybody else got to say about you. Who gives a damn? Like, I think that's one thing I would say to them.
I love it. I love it. Authenticity is key. All right, man. So I appreciate your time today. The conversation was dope, man. I'm always grateful to learn more about, creatives from the Kansas City area. The month of January for the Culture Talks podcast is all about highlighting KC creatives and just getting to know you guys better. And I'm glad that, you agreed to come on the show. Listeners, hopefully you enjoyed this conversation. If you really enjoyed it, please leave a 5-star review, as that is the only way we can grow on Apple Podcasts. So please leave a 5-star review and share it with your friends. Vonnie, listeners, the Culture Talks podcast, we are done. Salud.
See you later, dog.